Welcome back to the kitchen where he doesn't know what he's doing. What will he cook? Nobody knows. Let's follow him and see where he goes. So welcome back to the kitchen. We've got sweet potatoes, onions, we've got tomato, chilli, a bit of garlic, and in the pantry we've got some tins of various different beans. We've got pintos, ballottis, we've got a tin of kidney beans, we've got some passato tin tomatoes, tomato puree in a tube, and yeah, that's pretty much it for the moment. So we get smaller tins of them, they're usually preferable, doesn't make such a massive pot. But I'm going to get my trusty pressure cooker out, leave that over there for the moment, have a look at these tins and give them a good shake up, because you've got to have a shake. Shake your tins, baby! So now we've got those shaken up, and the viewers, of course, that's the most important. You've got to shake them viewers up, because that's what it's all about. So yeah, once we've got that done, I'm going to get this small pan open. I'm going to fill it with some water, filtered water of course, and I'm going to get it on. The stove. I'll put it on this ring, and that was pathetic. So I just went for the back ring, which isn't too much better. To be honest, I should just put it on the front ring because it's much better. But yeah, God knows what I was doing. So time to sharpen the knife, which I'm using the knife sharpener all wrong. So it's taking me ages and ages. A week later, I finally am not satisfied with how sharp the knife is, because I'm a bit too pathetic to work out how to sharpen my knife with this knife sharpener, even though it's incredibly simple. So I'm going to chop up these potatoes, I'm going to slice them up and cube them up into little bits, that way they cook a lot quicker. So I'm going to chop these up because that's how it goes. One man, one knife and a load of potatoes. So he chopped the potatoes. So he's got them potatoes chopped, and I'm going to randomly look in the cupboard, and then I'm going to talk about this pot of water for a little bit because it's boiling away. Then I'm going to go into the cupboard and I'm going to get out my balsamico, sage and thyme, cumin powder, chili powder, cumin seeds and coriander powder. And that's pretty much about it. Do I need anything else? Just looking through some more herbs, lentils, nah, fuck it. Close the door. So I've got my chopped potatoes, I've got my water pretty much boiling, and yeah, so I need to get that ready to put the potatoes in, which it now looks like it's ready enough. So I'm going to get them in, chop off that little bit of spud there because it looked like it had a black bit or something on it, couldn't quite see. I'm going to put it on the back hob now because I need the bigger one in a moment, and I just want them to simmer through slowly. Then I'm going to chop up my garlic. I'm going to do this really quick. Look, watch. Look how quick I can chop garlic. Am I not the fastest garlic chopper separator in the world? Well, there you have it. So once I've got them prepared, I'm going to slice them up really quickly. Yeah, that's pretty quick. So I'm going to get the ginger as well now and just skin the ginger. And once that's skinned, I'm going to chop that up really finely as well. And that's chopped. Fantastic. So now that's done, I'm going to start working on my onions in a moment because they need to get chopped up. So now that they're stirred and I'm happy with that, I'm going to make sure that it's on full whack. Yeah, it's on full whack, and I'm going to make my way to the onions. As I said before, I was totally dissatisfied with how sharp my knife was. I had to go and sharpen it again and was still dissatisfied. So I'm going to finish off doing my onions, and once they're nicely chopped, after turning on the light so I can see a little bit better, I'm going to get them chopped up really roughly, sliced up, nothing fancy, and get my saucepan down. Oh, and almost drop it. And we're going to get some oil in there. So with the temperature on a high heat, I'm going to get those onions in there very shortly, but first of all we need to get a bit of salt and pepper. Don't have any fresh pepper, so it's going to have to be that dry powdery pepper, which isn't anywhere near as nice and almost has no flavour, but it's pretty much all there was in the local shop when I was buying some stuff in. So I'm going to get that in the pan. As you can see, I do that at normal speed. Then it comes to the salt, and I'm going to get a good heap of that in because I need quite a bit of salt, and it's also really good at absorbing moisture. So then I want to get my cumin seeds in there, which means snipping the top off the bag and getting a load of cumin seeds. I'm going to leave them in there until they start popping, and when they start making a noise, then I need to get everything else in basically. That shows you that the oil's hot enough, smells good. Just give them a quick mix up. Right, so in the meantime, while I'm waiting, I'm going to make a bit of room there, and I'm going to make headway at chopping up my sweet potato, because it needs to be done, and while I'm waiting for them I might as well do that. So I can hear them making a noise now, and I'm dropping the potato everywhere, which is just fantastic. Don't put them there. Yes, that's much better. So I'll put them in there. I'm going to get my garlic and my ginger in there pretty quickly because they're already making a noise and I don't want them burning. Admittedly they're about a small piece of something. So give them a quick mix up. Once they've had a good mix, I'm going to get in my coriander powder, and I want quite a bit. I should have just put it all in to begin with, but I was being hesitant. And a nice bit of chili powder because that gives some overall warmth. You can add your fresh chili in here, but otherwise it gets a bit hot if you have to leave it till the next day, and I like making stews that last a few days, so that's how we do it. So after making a bit more of a mess with the potatoes and getting them everywhere but the chopping board, I'll give these a quick mix up, which is a simple process of flicking them around in the pan, which is great fun and highly enjoyable. Any large bits you can just break up with the spatula eventually if there's any bits stuck together. Sometimes it does happen. So yeah, you can see, just break up a few bits like that, fairly simple. So now once they're done, I'm going to go back to my sweet potatoes, because equally important to get them chopped up as soon as possible, because I need to get them in that water and cooking so that they're ready to go in the big pot afterwards. So I'll just give these a quick rinse off and I'll chop them up. As you can see, I'm chopping them up in little cubes, because the smaller they are, the quicker they'll cook. So we'll get all them chopped up lovely. Give these another quick mix around. I can still see it's a bit patchy, it's not an overall colour. That's because I added in the Now comes more cumin powder, coriander powder. Should have just put it all in to begin with. Wasn't enough smell. I know, I could tell, because I'm the chef and I'm cooking it, and you guys can't smell nothing because you're looking at it through video. So yeah, there we have it. I'm going to just check them. Yeah, they're about right, about halfway done, so I'm going to get my sweet potatoes in there as well, just so that they can cook. I'm going to make a mess and drop them all over the stove as well, because that's just what I'm doing today. Then I want to get my chilli and chop it up dead small, and I want to fire it in the pan. There we go. Once that's in there, I'm going to chop up my tomatoes, get them really roughly chopped, nothing particularly too special, and get them in there. Slices, whatever, it's absolutely irrelevant, just get them in there basically. So once they're in there and they've had a bit of a mix around, so they got coated with some of the coriander and all of the rest of it, which is all really delicious, give them a quick mix up like so. And once that's done, a very quick little splash of balsamic vinegar. That just helps to blend with the acidity of the tomatoes and gives it an all-round yumminess. Also gives that sweet flavour to the onions, adds a little bit of extra something for later on. So then we get the passata open, or tinned tomatoes, whatever you've got to hand, and open that up. Oh yes, don't forget, this is when you get the cumin powder in before you put the passata in, so that the passata washes it all through. Quite a bit of that, I have to say. Reasonable amount, though I'm much more of a fan of coriander powder than I am to cumin. So we get that in there, just give it a quick mix up. There you go, nice and lovely. To start changing colour as well. It's so nice. The whole thing of passata basically. So now that that's in there, I'm going to give it a quick mix up again, and I'm going to get some lemongrass. I'm going to get a yellow pepper for colour and a bit of lemon out of the fridge. So I'm going to get a piece of lemongrass. I'm going to chop off the bits that are not so nice. Yeah, like those bits, and then I'm going to snip that up really small. Yep, chop, 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 chop. Chop, 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 chop. Fucking hell, I can chop quick. Yeah, I forgot to take the outer layer off like a tit. So yeah, I'm going to chop all of that up really quickly. want it nice and fine so that it goes throughout the whole stew really nicely. So once that's all chopped up like so, I want to just go through it again with the blade just to make sure it's already quite fine. And yeah, get any last little straggling bits and quickly get that in the pan like so. Right, now that's up, chop it up and get this pepper sorted and cleaned. Don't want them seeds, but yeah, just do it like so. Cut all the way around, lovely. Throw that in the composting bag. Right, there we go, and clean this bit of pepper off as well. Fantastic, marvellous. And then clean this bit of pepper off as well. So that's the innards out of that, and I can get on with chopping up little bits. I'll give it a mix. You can see it's bubbling now because it's still on a high heat. But that's what we want. It helps the flavours mix. So I want to very quickly now get these peppers chopped up once I've cleaned the chopping board, like so. There we go. And put that in the composting bag as well. So once that's done, chop up my peppers. I'm going to do that pretty quickly. So once I've got the peppers chopped up and I've got them in the pan like so, I'm going to snip off a little bit of this lemon and I'm going to cut it like so. I'm going to cut it into quarters and I'm going to throw them into the pan as well because I want the whole lemons in there, and that'll be fantastic. Then I'm going to get my frozen peas, carrots and sweet corn and throw them in. There wasn't as many as I thought there was, which is a bit gutting. Then I want to get a couple of lumps of frozen spinach and I want to throw them in there. The more the merrier really. I just want to save some for another dish that I want to do afterwards. So this is where, once you've got the spinach ready to go in, I want to get a bit of oil in my big pan and keep that on the high heat. I'll just give these a mix around in the frying pan for the moment. As you can see, it's starting to thicken up and that's not really what I want. So I need to get that in the saucepan as soon as possible. Potatoes still need a moment. So while that oil's heating up, I can see the smoke coming out of that pan now, which is just about right. While the smoke coming out of the pan, I know it's nice and hot. But I want to get it really hot, so I'll just snip up this coriander, nice and fresh coriander. Get all that chopped up nice and finely, lovely, and get that in the pan. It'll sizzle a lot because it's bloody hot, well, it's come to be expected. So now that they're in there, I'll put the pan in the sink and it's time to add your tins of beans, or if you're using fresh beans, add your freshly pressure cooked beans, but just remember to add like a couple of cups of water or something, because obviously if you've pressure cooked your fresh beans there won't be any moisture left. So that was the pinto and the borlotti beans that were added, and I'm going to open up the kidney beans and I'm going to get the kidney beans in there. I don't want the water from the kidney beans because I've already got the water from the pintos and the borlottis. So I'm going to drain the water of them, or near as damn it, and fire them in there. So once they're done, I'm going to get my coriander and give it a quick mix and get my coriander in the pan. So that's it, they've had a good mix up. Yeah, you can see it's a good thick consistency, which is pretty much just what we want. Right, I want to make sure it's on a high heat now, because this is when it's the cooking phase. So I'll get my coriander in there, tidy up, give that a mix up, and wait for the potatoes to be done basically. So in the meantime, it's a good chance now to add a good load of thyme in there, because I've got some and I love the flavours of it and it's going to taste great, and we want to get a load of sage in there because sage tastes brilliant, and yeah, I've got some, so it's going in. So I'm going to get the OXO cubes and I'm going to use a whole OXO cube, and probably the half that sat there from what I made before from What's He Cooking 1. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll put an annotation on screen somewhere around about now, just so you can click on it and you can go and watch it, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Well, I hope you do at least. So anyway, now the water's strained on those potatoes, I'm going to get them in there. So once they're in the pot, that's pretty much it now. Don't really have to do anything else apart from give it a mix and wait a little bit. So once they're all mixed up, I'm going to leave that sit together. I'm going to turn the heat down and let it just slowly simmer away for about half an hour. And yeah, that'll be about fine then. It'll all have cooked in beautifully and it'll be delicious. So there we have it, 30 minutes later. Bowl of stew. Ta-da! Now I need some bread, so I'm going to get some bread ready and make that happen about now. There we go. So I've put a dollop of creme fraiche on top because it's fucking delicious. You can use mayo even, it's just as nice. So that's it. So there we have it. You can put a little splash of balsamico on the top just to give the creme fraiche something nice to look at. And thank you very much for watching, and I do hope you tune in again next time for one of my next adventures. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe, of course. Keep that support going, and I will no doubt see you all later. Thanks for watching. Bye.